offering it in
Camp.
high school. I guess in the.
Notice of this meeting was given to all board members and associates in a meeting notice dated July 17, 2023. Furthermore, on that date, a copy of such notice was sent to the Times, the Trentonian, and the clerk of the Township of Hamilton. It was also posted on the bulletin board at the entrance to the boardroom in the Hamilton Square Administrative Building. Please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States
of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey.
Roll call. Roll. Dr. McShane,
Here.
Ms. Byrne,
Here.
Mr. Salantano.
Here.
Dr. Farrar. Here. Mr. Gonzalez,
Here.
Ms. Harvey,
Here.
Mr. Kanka,
Here.
Ms. Thornton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
Whereas NJSA 10:4-13 requires adoption of the board to go into executive session, be it resolved that the board pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, New Jersey, Title 18A, and the Hamilton Township Board of Education bylaw number 0166, hereby enter executive session to discuss a matter involving student matters, labor matters, matters falling under attorney-client privilege, and other matters. Be it further resolved that the minutes of this executive session shall be made public following formal action by the board and/or at the conclusion of any investigation, due process proceeding, or litigation, so long as not prohibited by law, and so long as the need for maintaining confidentiality no longer exists.
Where we at?
Where we were last week.
Or if I'll be able to, but my intention is to succeed.
So we'll start with announcements. Can we have the superintendent's report?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out. I am going to ask for the permission of the board president to move up an item. Tonight, we have a very special group of athletes in our hallway here, and I'm going to ask that we move up our recognition of our Steinert softball team to prior to my superintendent's report. Okay, with that, we'd like to invite our Steinert softball players into the cafetorium here. Yeah.
Do we have a banner like they can run through? That would be fun.
Yeah, sure.
Are they coming through here?
Behind door number 1.
We're off to a hot start.
Very good.
Probably Owen.
So as they are beginning to come in here, we have our principal, Brian Rogers, who is here. And ladies, if you would like to come closer here. So what we'd like to do tonight is we would like to recognize our softball team at Steinert High School. These ladies are phenomenal athletes and competitors. Each year, they are competitive in the regular season, the Mercer County tournament and the state tournament. And this year, they won the Group 3 state championship, a phenomenal accomplishment. So congratulations, ladies. As you go through a season, the competition gets tougher, especially through the county tournament and the state tournament, and to win the whole thing is absolutely phenomenal. That's a testament to the work that you put in prior to the season, the work you put in during the season, and your teamwork. We are all very proud of you, of your accomplishments, and how you've represented Steinert High School and how you've represented this school district. And we do have certificates for each of you, and I'll let Dr. Altabello begin with the certificates.
And I'm going to call up Coach Melker, who's going to bring up the girls, and congratulate them on behalf of us.
I think I'm good. I got this.
Coach.
Yeah, of course. All right. Isabella Manesi. Right over here. We'll crutch you around. Abigail Mazer. Gianna Demiglio. Addison Hassan. Katie Samanka. Mia Pope. Ellie Miller. Bianca Walsh. And Brooke DeWitt. The two coaches unable to be here are Jerry Leone and Michelle Walsh, and then the players unable to attend are Riley Mikulojak, and then my seniors, right? Yeah. Paige Schultz, Sierra O'Neill, and McKenna Spack. Yeah. What is the pink? Okay,
Congratulations.
thank you.
One more thing.
Okay, before you guys go out, I just want to congratulate you. I actually had the privilege to see some of your games. You guys are absolutely amazing. Your teamwork is amazing. You guys really come together as a team, and that is just so great to watch. You should all be very proud of your accomplishments. You have an amazing coaching staff. You're very fortunate. And as a softball mom myself, I would be remiss if I did not have a shout out to all of our families and our parents, because I know that with their support, you are here today. I know that they've taken you to lessons and practices and things like that. So shout out to the families as well. And together, you guys have accomplished greatness. Thank you.
Thank you. They're going to take a picture outside also. And thank you to the parents for coming tonight too. Okay, some other items in the superintendent's report. I also want to congratulate rising junior at Steiner, Dean Svez. He is a vocal student at the School of Rock in Princeton, and he is touring in an ensemble of other teen musicians across the country. Dean is performing at venues across 4 Midwest states from July 31st through August 5th to support mental health awareness, as well as raise funds for the Society for the Prevention of Teen Suicide. So Dean, great job. Congratulations. I'd also like to give congratulations to one of our own, Chris Guerrera. He is our supervisor of data processing. And he was awarded the 2023 Honor Roll Award, the title of Technical Hero at the 2023 Annual Edge Conference. So congratulations to Chris. Really great things. I know that we are going to congratulate Gladiator Cafe in a minute, so I'm going to leave that one for another report. Give an update on the turf field. So Nottingham, they are putting the turf in. I sent a picture to the board members today. The turf is going in. Steinert, the stone is being leveled, and in about 2 weeks, the turf will go in at Steinert. Everything is on schedule at this point. Knock on plastic. Last week, we had 2 days of administrative PD. During those days, we engaged in mental health first aid for teens training. We focused on our opening activities with staff and discussed one of our goals of chronic absenteeism. These are 2 of 5 days that we will do training with our leadership team, both our building and our district leadership team. And there'll be more training at the end of August. Just for our community to know, we are doing 5 pop-up schoolhouses in August and September. Yardville Heights will be August 9th. Sunnybray will be August 15th. Kistard will be August 23rd. Cooser will be August 29th. And Greenwood will be September 13th. This is all online. And just for those of you who don't know, the pop-up schoolhouses were started towards the middle of the pandemic, where we were trying to make connections with families again. And so we did outdoor events, and it's literally what it sounds like. We pop up a tent and we have people come over. We have our tech department. We have our administration of the building. We have nonprofits that are there. We have our some supervisors and some district administrators. And so the kids come out and the parents come out at our elementary schools. And these are all elementary, and we've done them elsewhere, but at the elementary schools, we also usually have a PE teacher or 2, and they do activities with the students and play games and bring out the giant parachute, who, even no matter what age they are, don't like the giant parachute. Everybody does. So they do all kinds of different activities with the kids, just getting them ready for another school year and providing some information and services to our families. And so you can find those dates online. School links will begin on August 1st. All high schools will be transitioning from Naviance to School Links as our college and career platform. All high school counselors will be trained on September 1st. They will also have access to learning libraries prior to the introduction. Information for seniors will be disseminated through the counseling offices at each building. Parents will also be notified. All underclassmen and their families will be onboarded by the end of the first semester. And so I have 2 last items. The first one's a really quick one, but a very important one. Today is actually not only a board meeting day, but it's also an important day for a member who attends these meetings every month. So today is Janice Kalanik's 29th birthday. Happy birthday, Janice. Hope it was a nice day for you. And finally, my last item, our theme for the coming school year is Every Day Counts. I'm asking everyone who has a role or responsibility in our district to identify what they can do and will do to make sure every day counts in our district. Ask yourself what you can do to make tomorrow or today better than yesterday for all of our students in our district. What can you do to positively impact the life of our students that you know? But just equally as important, what can you do to positively impact the life of students you've never met in our district? How can you create or support a positive mindset in our district and for those who work and learn here? It's easy to be negative. It's easy to say things aren't working. Leadership comes in all forms, but it doesn't always require a title. Be a leader by helping create positive change in our district by making every day count for every student and staff member in our district. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rocco. Do any Board of Education members have anything that they would like to talk about? Okay, Any announcements, Dr. Ferrara?
Thank you. I want to remind the community that Tuesday is National Night Out. It's a chance for the community to meet the members of the Hamilton Township Police Department. And I'm mentioning this tonight because the police department has a UAV division. And UAV stands for Unmanned Aerial Vehicle that most of us call drones. Drones are one of the latest tools being used by police and fire departments. I just finished a lot of research on this. In many ways, they make policing and firefighting safer. And that's the message that some HTSD campers in our district program got last week during their camp on drones. HTSD added a drone program at the 8th grade level during the second half of the 2021-2022 school year. The curriculum is called Drone Legends. It teaches students how to maneuver with very simple drones, and they are simple. They have batteries and propellers, no cameras or anything. But the kids are assigned missions to complete. We were the first district in New Jersey to adopt the Drones Legends program, and every student in the district will have an opportunity to pilot a drone before graduating. They really are amazing tools. There's just so much that's being done with drones. So National Night Out is between 5 and 8 p.m. It's go into Veterans Park South, which is the entrance on Cooser Road. Last year, Grice Middle School Gladiator Cafe received a New Jersey School Boards Association Annual School Leader Award as a recognized program. And these awards are bestowed yearly, and oftentimes programs winning such an award receive recognition in the New Jersey School Board Association quarterly magazine called School Leader. There are approximately 5,000 elected school board members in the state, and each one of us receives a copy of this magazine. This month, on the very last page, those 5,000 members and about 1,500 more educational leaders and government officials in the state will learn about the Gladiator Cafe. The title of the article says it all. Hamilton's Gladiator Cafe teaches life lessons about running a business, helping others. And here's the closing paragraph of the story. For 7 years, the Gladiator Cafe has met the mission of New Jersey's career readiness, life skills, and key skills standards for middle school students with multiple disabilities. Those students have graduated, understand the obligations and responsibilities of being a member of a community, and demonstrate this understanding every day through their interactions with others. It really is a magnificent program. Ms. Audino, thank you for your leadership in that area. And it's really exciting that the whole state's going to learn about us. That's all I have, Mrs. Thornton.
Any other board members? Ms. Harvey?
First off, I just had to emphasize a question on the pop-up school. So even if, or community members can go to any school, even though it's not their school, because I know I've gotten that question in the past. So I just wanted to emphasize that. And it's a great program for people to go out and bring your children. Then the announcement that I just had is about a new law that Governor Murphy signed into law. He created a commission to study social media's impact on adolescents, which is an issue that affects our schools. So hopefully we can get some good information to come out of that. The article I read, though, did mention some points that I thought would be helpful to our parents. So they talk about that you as a parent right now can talk to your children about the risks of social media and how to use it safely. I know that there's a program that the state police runs that actually has been brought to some of our elementary schools. And if you have an interest, and you can talk to your principal about maybe bringing it to your school too, if they didn't do it. There's also a recommendation to limit screen time to monitor your child's social media activity, to talk to your children about cyberbullying, and encouraging kids to be critical about what they read on social media. So I just wanted to bring that to the public's attention.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Any other board members? Okay, we'll move to our awards and presentations. We actually did have the recognition of our Steinert softball team. So at this time, we have the SSDS report.
I'll shut this off when I'm done. All right, good evening, everybody. As you may know, board members will know because you see this twice a year, we're required by the state of New Jersey to report out 2 times per year to the Board of Education on SSDS. That's previously the EVVRS, but essentially what it means is the school safety data system. This was initiated by the DOE in 2017, 2018, and it collects incidents of violence, vandalism, weapons offenses, substance abuse offenses, alleged HIBs, confirmed HIBs, and any other offenses that lead to a student being removed from a class or from the school. So we'll break this down into 2 sections. First will be the elementary, and this is the first reporting period. So this is September through December. So September 1 through December 30 of 2022. So this most recent school year. The columns that you see in black are 21, 22. And the school year we're looking at are in gold. So we have some areas in the elementary school we want to highlight. First of all, to give perspective, when you're looking at total incidents of violence, vandalism, substance abuse, weapons, we're at less than 1% of the elementary student population. We had 36 total incidents. Violence is down, vandalism is down, weapons are equal. When you look at the areas that we have some concerns, we're going to look at the HIB numbers because in the elementary division, the HIB numbers have risen and the number of trainings for HIB has gone down. So coming out of September and coming out of this year, working with Mrs. Ferlato, we're going to make sure that we increase the number of trainings, not only for staff, but for students, and increase the number of programs because we would expect to see a decrease in HIBs over the course of the year. In the secondary division, we are looking at drops in, we are looking at drops of total incidents, drops of violence, drops of vandalism. We did see a rise in substance abuse or substance abuse issues, which is concerning. But we also do see a reduction in confirmed HIBs, and we see a rise in alleged HIBs. The area of concern here is the number of removals for other incidents at 380, which is an increase. So students are being removed from class or removed or being suspended either for a period or more than a period at a higher rate than they were the year before. So that is obviously an area of concern. And then bringing everything into focus for the district, as you can see, we are looking at a decrease in total incidents, a decrease in violence, a decrease in vandalism. We did see an increase in substance, a decrease in weapons, a decrease in the number of HIBs which are being confirmed, an increase in alleged, so HIBs that were alleged but were not found to be HIB. And then obviously we're seeing an increase in student removal, and we saw a reduction in programs. So there are a lot of positives here, but there are also areas of concern. So I'll be working with Mrs. Audino and Mrs. Ferlato on certain areas with respect to HIB because Mrs. Ferlato is the district anti-bullying coordinator. And we will certainly be moving forward. But I do want to say that at both levels, I think that we are making progress in specific areas that are of importance with respect to reporting, but we do have areas that we need to work on. So we will report out again in November or December, which will give you a full year of 2022, 2023 versus 2021, 2022. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I will see you again in November.
Dr. Altabello,
Yes.
can you define substance for us? Is it vaping?
It's
Is it
any, yeah, so
drugs?
it's anything. So yes, so for example, vaping would fall because we have no, there is no verification process for vapes. We have to assume that every vape that we collect is potentially a cannabis vape until we have it tested. So it would be documented as substance. So it could be possession of marijuana, possession of a vape, any controlled dangerous substance, certain tobacco products could fall into that if a district employee did classify it as such. So yeah.
Biggest jump is in other incidents.
Correct.
What constituted the jump?
Yeah, so I think that one of the things that is of concern with respect to the number of times that students are being removed for class is disrespect towards adults and class cuts. Those are the two areas, because we have a district policy that if you are, if you cut a class or cut class 3 times, it's an automatic 1-day in-school suspension. So every student that cuts class 3 times automatically gets a and then every time after that, it's an automatic half-day suspension. So on the 4th cut, half-day suspension. On the 5th cut, we do have a lot of kids that fall into that, which raises our numbers. And the other thing is we are seeing, as you know, we are seeing students that are engaging in behaviors that are very problematic at times that lead to long-term suspensions with increases, because those are numbers of days, not incidents. So those are 380 days of removal, not 380 incidents.
Okay.
I understand that I misunderstood that. I
Yes,
thought
no
it was
problem.
number of incidents.
Good question.
Maybe that ties into my question, which you have vandalism there. Is that the number of students found to have committed vandalism, or is it incidents of vandalism?
Incidents of vandalism total, yes. Yep.
Thank you.
So it could be 1 student that vandalized 2 stalls. It could be 3 students that vandalize 7 stalls.
But this is a student that's been found.
It's total number of
But it's not-
incidents that are classified as vandalism, not number of students who have engaged in vandalism.
Okay. So there could have been a desk that's been written on or something
Correct.
that is separate.
Bathroom stall.
Okay.
Sidewalk. At times, destruction of school property could be considered vandalism.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
The number includes all of our schools, am I correct?
Correct.
So is there any correlation between certain times of the year where the absenteeism rises? Example, end of the school year, maybe around the holidays.
So for this reporting period, what would play into that would be around the holiday seasons. What will play into the entire year, which you will see in November, is all of those things where you can actually look at certain dates. Was this frequent around the holiday season? Was this frequent around teacher convention? Is this frequent around Halloween? Things like that. But this particular snapshot is September 1 through December 30th.
Okay, so when will we get an idea of, let's say, June? Because graduation, and I'm kind of aware of what some youngsters like to do. I'm guilty of that myself, but that's a while ago.
I was going to say, I probably have a report on you somewhere. So yeah, that information will be in the November, December presentation. That will cover the entire year, September to June.
Thank you.
Okay, but the schools are still inputting that data now. It's due August 1, so it won't be released until about October for us to look at.
So I just do have a quick question. Could
Yes.
you just, at some point, just provide the board with IC trainings and
A list of training, sure.
yes,
Yep,
a list of trainings and the HIB programs per
Absolutely.
school,
Yep.
so that we can just take a look at what we have.
what you have going on, sure. We'll put that in a board library, if not tomorrow, by the beginning of next week. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Dankeschön.
We're going to move on to committee reports. And we will start with curriculum and instruction. Dr. Ferrara.
Thank you, Mrs. Thornton. The Curriculum and Instruction Committee met on July 16th. All 3 committee members were in attendance. Mr. Scotto reviewed 2 new high school textbooks with the committee, one for AP Government and the other for the district's Italian classes. AP Government text is titled American Government Stories of a Nation. This AP class is a college level course which is taught in high school. AP classes are designed and overseen by the College Board. So the College Board develops the testing for this course. Students receiving a 3 or higher on the AP Government exam can receive college credit. The New Jersey standards for this course were updated in 2019, and that is necessitating the change in the text. Mr. Scotto and teachers examined and reviewed texts. The committee looked for a text which had exam questions which mirror what is on the final exam. And I have to say, as somebody who grew up in New York and taking Regents exams, that's exactly how our classes looked. Every test we took looked like a Regents exam, so that it wasn't a surprise at the end of the year. And so it's not teaching to the test, it's teaching students how to take a test that is designed to go with an AP course. The committee liked not only the text and how the information was presented, but members also liked the text enhancements, like the online components. There is a read aloud component for students who need that assistance, like English language learners. Text size and background color can be changed. Because there is an ebook, so there's a textbook and an ebook, and there are 6 practice exams that are provided. The text contains foundational documents like the Declaration of Independence and pertinent court cases, including Supreme Court cases. The new Italian text is titled Sentieri, which translates to trails or footpath, and the text was selected for the importance that it places on vocabulary and grammar. There is again a robust online component for the physical text, including videos, tutorials, online quizzes, and exams. Being able to use the language is important, so teachers like the extra resources and found the text easy to navigate. Teachers agreed the information was not only relevant, but it was also modern. So approval for these texts is at motion 7. This summer, HTSD faculty and staff have the opportunity to take a number of professional development workshops. There are 46 offerings by presenters from across the district, including members of the tech department, other teachers, administrators, and there are some outside presenters. New hires that have been board approved have been invited to participate. There is also this summer a 6-week training on Google Apps for secretaries and support staff. Attendance for all of these are voluntary. And I have to the next thing Mr. Scotto spoke to us about was iReady reports that went out to families. The documents show how each student did on last year's benchmark assessments in mathematics and reading. The mailer included a handout to help families interpret the results. So everybody should have gotten that. If there's questions, you can certainly call the CNI office. Ms. Ferlato, who is the Director of Guidance, spoke to the committee about 2 items. The first is found under CNI Motion 12 and involves having 10 district counselors learn how to use what is called sand play therapy. There are numerous ways for counselors to harness the power of playing in a sandbox. For example, sometimes a child can act out a problem in the sand using figures. Sometimes the child can become engrossed in touching and feeling the sand, but still be able to express inner conflict to the counselor. And sand is just one tool that is recognized in play therapy. The second item Ms. Ferlato discussed with the committee was a professional development program for the district's administrative team titled Do What Matters Most. This is motion number 6. The focus on the PD is to help people look at a work-life balance and how to increase productivity. Grant funds are covering the cost of those sessions. And I should have mentioned the play therapy is motion 12. That's under our usual listing of PD that people take. Finally, Mr. Scotto offered 3 different opportunities for board members to come and ask final questions about the comprehensive 2020 health and PE standards. As chair of the CNI committee, I was present at each session. As you all know, this process began last year. Board members have had several opportunities over the course of the last 19 months to examine the standards, ask questions, and weigh in on the state's requirements. Tonight, the board is being asked to accept the curriculum document at motion number 9. And I'd like to recap a couple of items. One of the first things last year's Board of Education did was to ask Mr. Scotto to make the opt-out process stronger and clearer. This opt-out provision for family life instruction has been in place for more than 40 years. What last year's members asked for was, 1, for the district to make sure the adults in the lives of students understood the opt-out provision. To this end, last year, every student received a letter about the opt-out provision. Number two, last year's board also asked Mr. Scotto to make the documents for opting out available on the district's curriculum and instruction page, in a student's electronic backpack, and in Power School. The same process will occur again this year. By enhancing this process, last year's board showed a commitment to parental rights by making sure parents knew their rights about family life education, how to opt out, and how to exercise their rights. A reminder that abstinence is a legal requirement of this curriculum and remains in place. The curriculum document, which the board will vote on tonight, is the end result of months of work done by certified health and PE teachers and the curriculum supervisor of that subject area. And that's all I have to report on. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Farrar. Mr. Kanka, can you give us the Finance and Operation Committee report?
Good evening. The Finance and Operations Committee met on July the 12th, 8:30 a.m. I'd like to thank the administrative staff that attended, plus the committee members, Mrs. Harvey and Mr. Solentano, for in attendance. We got right into our initiative items on the field updates, which you've heard from Dr. Rocco earlier, that the turf is down at Nottingham. There's, obviously a lot of other, just because the turf's down, there's other work that's got to be done. There has been a few little setbacks as far as rain is concerned, but we are still ahead of schedule to get all these, the two remaining fields completed for the upcoming school year. We discussed the field usage after hours, after the turf has been installed, and public access to those fields. We are still in discussion about how we're going to approach this. So there will be further updates as the committee makes a recommendation to the board. We also discussed, we had Mr. O'Boyle in to answer any questions about our new security system that's going to be installed in the secondary schools for the 23-24 year. There was questions about installation, training, so on and so forth, who's going to operate the systems, and the goal still remains that the installation will be complete by the start of the 23-24 school year in the three high schools and the three middle schools. Then we moved on to food service, an update on that for the end of the year. We still had a balance of in the neighborhood of $280,000 in student debt. But there was after some research, there's going to be a transfer of $95,703 to cover for students that will fall under free and reduced, and a small debt left by some graduating students at the end of June 30th, 2023. So that will bring the outstanding balance that we're carrying forward of $185,107, which we're still working with the public to secure those funds. We discussed a dual use bathrooms, the new toilet facilities at Yarville and Yarville Heights, which is on our agenda tonight on how it's going to work. Then we went into summer capital projects, the update. We had a little issue with the paving, but has just been resolved, and the contract will be awarded to particular contractor who submitted the bid. There was a challenge in that contract, and it's been resolved. Mr. Carrick represented the district in that decision. We had updates on the Greenwood School HVAC, Wilson and Cruiser modular classrooms, West and East cafeteria HVAC, Yardville Heights HVAC, the flooring at Crockett, Grice, Reynolds, Cruiser, West Zion, Alexander and Yardville, and all those projects are currently on schedule. They're holding meetings about the high school auditoriums with each of the principals. And as details come forward, it will be presented. And that concluded our meeting. It was a very short meeting, which I appreciated because we have a lot of long talkers in that committee, and I'm one of them. So we scheduled our next meeting for August the 9th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. And that if anybody in the committee has a question, if I missed something, I'd appreciate it. If not, does Mr. Solentano?
Yeah, let me get a little closer here. So I've noticed the last couple of months, we go over these items at our committee meetings, but now this is 2 months in a row that the comments I have made about the township building update are not in the minutes, and I would like to get them put in the minutes, at least for July, because we really didn't have a big discussion about that. And as an example, I've been telling you folks that until we get some answers from this Board of Education at this level, I'm not on board with it. I would like people to know that I'm not on board with it. All right. And you might call me a hypocrite for that because I was one of the individuals who first pushed that idea until I start to think through it. We, as a Board of Education, have not had a town hall meeting to discuss this with the public. We have not sought alternative device sites. Again, we haven't had a public discussion, and it bothers me that these comments that come from myself, and sometimes it could come from Christine and come from Rich himself, are not passed on to the other committees. We have the first committee meeting in the morning. So I would think that comments like that should have been repeated at the personnel committee and then at the curriculum committee, so that you know what this board member is at least thinking, right? If you remember a few years ago when that site came up, there were individuals on this board who were so concerned about the poison PCBs, whatever was in the ground at that time. We don't seem to bring that up at this time.
I'd like to raise a point of order that there should not be a public discussion based upon advice we've gotten from council before.
So if it's the property that I understand it is with the partnership with the township, this has been made public already. There was a newspaper article about it. I would caution any board members to refrain from any discussions we've had in an executive session. Privilege issues that arise from this would be any negotiations, any contract terms, anything like that would be discussed in executive session of a privileged nature. So obviously, Mr. Celentano hasn't gone there yet. I don't expect that he will. But it is public knowledge that the board has expressed an interest in the partnership with the town.
And I don't know what we have brought back to this body from the attendance of, in this case, I think it says Rich Kenka, Mr. Kenka attended that meeting, but I'm not putting any onus on him to do anything that he doesn't want to do or can't do, etc. But I do think we owe the public an answer about what our intentions there are going to be. And when it comes apparent, how much is it going to cost us? What are we going to do? How many square feet? Yada, yada, yada. Because I have a real big issue after thinking about this whole thing over a period of time now as to if we're going to get into a long-term deal where we're going to take taxpayers' money from this body and pay the other entity, those tax dollars, it just doesn't resonate with me. And I know you have to do it. I mean, but it's from one, take from this hand, put it over here. And I think we have to be honest about it. Again, if it comes out and everything's fine with everybody, I'll probably sign off on it. However, I have to feel comfortable that this board has had a public discussion about it as much as they can, because we can't depend on the municipal government who has all of the marbles in this game right now.
So, Mr. Salantano, I do hear you and I do understand your concerns. And I am going to refer back to Mr. Kanko because he did want to make a comment. But at the same time, when we move further along with this and we do have the information, that will be information that we would be able to share once we have all the information. Now, with that being said, we will be more than happy to, and I will discuss with Dr. Rocco, an update to the board on where everyone is.
Yeah,
in regards to.
I think that's,
Okay.
I think that's fair. However, to wait until they make a decision to come back and tell us this is what we're looking at. I'm a little bit concerned that it may be overwhelmingly in their favor to, don't take this the wrong way, get one over on us. I don't mean to say that in a derogatory manner, but I couldn't think of anything better to say. Again, I think there are sites out there that we can look at. And if we're going to go through the MCIA, I believe the township's gone through the MCIA, we can do the same thing. We have a lot of power. We can declare eminent domain. There's only one or two spots that, don't forget, I researched this back in 2018 or 2017, I think, and we came up with 2 or 3 spots. And at that time, again, I want to say it tonight, nobody listened. We could have had where those boxes are today, which was, what was it before, cost cutters? This Board of Education could have had that site for a charitable contribution from whomever. Okay, we could have had this present site for a similar amount of money. Again, we'd have to look at what the expenses. I understand that we don't have $1 million sitting around to do something with when we have other needs in the district that would benefit youngsters.
And I thank you for bringing that up, and because it does fall under finance and operation, but perhaps we can bring that up if it's further discussion under other.
And we'll do that.
Other
My
items,
point
okay.
tonight, Madam Chairman, is that my comments are not in these
Duly
minutes.
noted.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kanka?
Well, the reason why it wasn't brought up in this particular report is because this is a facilities and operations report within the district, not what's could happen down the road 2 or 3 years from now. And you're right, I have been attending those meetings, and basically what the meetings have been so far really doesn't have anything to do with what we may possibly do in the future. It's all about environmental studies on the property. As if anybody has gone by that place, there was they talked for 3 or 4 months on remediation issues on the property. They started remediation a couple months ago, and it's going to last into October, the way I understand. I did voice a concern about the amount of square footage that was going to be made available versus the cost. And they assured me that, or they assured everybody there that these discussions were going to take place probably somewhere around October or November, if with any type of monetary discussions for whoever's going to lease out that other half. Like last 2 weeks ago, the discussion was on equipment. So which really has nothing to do with us. It's their building, it's their equipment and the placement of that equipment. So when it comes down to where we have to make some decisions on what we would like to see over there, then I think we'll bring it back to the board and get the board, the consensus of the board to find out, what we're going to do. And then we'll make our stand there. But as of right now, it's just about environmental stuff. Where they're going to put in some green space, parking lots, parking spaces, access in and out of White Horse Avenue versus Cruiser
bless you.
Road. So that's basically the conversation that's been going on for the last 8 or 9 months.
Does any-
The initial design of the building.
Does anybody know what went on when the township had their town hall meeting discussing this project?
So if
Because they had a town hall meeting.
I know that I actually was in attendance at the town hall meeting,
So
so
you-
I do, but I would like to add this under other discussion if we would like to continue it because.
No,
this
that's
is
fine. I
within
just want,
reports and I don't want to sway away from that. So if you would like to bring that up back up under other discussion, we'll be happy to.
I'll wait.
further
Maybe,
discuss that.
maybe I appreciate that, but maybe we can get moving here and
Okay.
that's not that important right now, but I do want to
But I
remind you.
understand your concerns in regards to your comments with the minutes.
Again, because you never knew what I said. I don't think Dr. Ferrara's crew knew what I said. And, maybe it would have sparked some ingenious idea.
Thank you. So I'm going to move on to the Personnel Committee. Mr. Kenka, were you concluded with your committee report?
We do have under negotiations,
Please.
we do have a date, if you want to call it that, with the HDEA coming up. We're going to try to get this thing started as soon as possible, hopefully before the end of the year. And we'll hopefully get this thing resolved before June the 30th. But we'll be ready to go shortly.
Thank you. So I'm going to move on to the Personnel Committee report. The Personnel Committee did meet on July 12th. We went over various items. Some of the items you will see on your agenda this evening. We do have an agreement with the HTA for streaming instruction and 7th period instruction, which you will see, I believe, is on the agenda for this evening. We also discussed other various items such as substitute rates. So that will be on the agenda for this evening as well. And we also discussed vacancies. You will see quite a few of the vacancies have been filled, but I do know that we are continuing to fill vacancies as well. And I want to thank administration very much because I know that it is not easy to fill them. And I thank them. They are working very diligently to fill those positions. And that's actually all that I have for personnel at this time, but I would like to see if Dr. McShane has any updates for the DCR committee.
No updates for right now, actually. Thank you.
So do we have any questions on the monthly suspension report? Monthly HIB report? And the monthly health report? Okay, so we can move to the hearing of the public on agenda items.
Mhm.
Thank you. So I do have 7 individuals here for this evening. In order to be fair and have every individual be able to speak, I would like to ask if we can extend the time now instead of cutting off in the 20 minutes.
So it's 7 times 4, that's 28 minutes.
Make it 30 minutes.
I have a question. How many of those are from Hamilton? Only because we have a special exec tonight to try and fill our vacancy. And I'm sure many of the board know my daughter is in early labor, so
So I have currently, with the individuals that did put their name here, I do have 5 out of the 7. 2 did not put their address. So majority of them are from Hamilton. So I'm asking if we can extend. motion to
I'm
extend.
a motion to extend the time to 28 minutes.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
On that
Sure
list
is
is both
There a second?
lists? There's another list for the
Okay.
second,
Yeah, this is
Right?
just for,
Mhm.
right,
So
this is just, right.
for
On
hearing of the-
agenda items.
okay.
Okay. Can we call-
second.
We have a
Dr.
second?
McSheen seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion passes.
What do I say?
Oh, the 3 had to do one. So,
Okay.
just the agenda
So
item.
can we,
We did.
we did, okay.
Basic.
All right, so again, this is the hearing of the public on agenda items only. I ask that when you do come up to speak, we do have 2 hearings of the public. So if it is not on one of the agenda items that we have listed on the agenda this evening, we just ask that you wait until the second hearing of the public. So I'm going to start with Mr. Rocco Ricchio.
Good evening. It's Rocco Riccio,
I apologize.
177 Regina Avenue. I'm not going to take 4 minutes. Just real quick about the curriculum that was introduced tonight. I guess they were all new curriculums that are being considered or have been enacted. Have you seen the test scores? I think you have a couple schools on probation that failed. And I didn't hear on that list about updated version of curriculums for language arts or math curriculums. Dr. Rocco, failure begins at the top. That's all I got.
Mr. Joseph Stillwell? Okay. Okay. John Fishes? Fisher, sorry.
I'm assuming since the board appointment's not written on the agenda, that's not part of this. section, right?
Correct. That
Okay.
would be on the second hearing of
Okay.
the public.
My name's John Fisher. I'm the father of 2 children in the district. I'll skip that part and just go to the end. I'd just like to speak and say and urge the board to vote in favor of the physical education curriculum changes. While the standards voted in by the board last year are not perfect, the updated curriculum will bring the district closer to meeting the state's physical education standards, which themselves were developed to make our children safer. Second, I just saw on the agenda today, item 12 under the finance agenda, say I support the board voting in favor of that too. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Melissa DeFelice. Joanne Bruno. Megan Stanton, Okay.
Another.
Eddie Frank,
Yeah, I feel like all nervous and stuff. Oh, I like to thank the little people. All right, let me get out the joke. All right, I just want to bring to the I was told that I had to come here to speak about this situation. It's Hamilton West. I'm a resident, I mean, I'm from Hamilton West. I went to Kistar, went to Grice, I went to, Wilson. I've been a long time resident here and everything. What I came here today was to talk about the field being locked up. It's senior citizens. I mean, they've been running that that been in there for 30 years, if I'm not mistaken. One of them is my son's grandma. So it's like 10 or 15 of them. But they've been going to the facility and it's been locked. They've been doing it for 30 to 40 years. I'm trying to see what's the right way to handle to at least make accommodation for them, if that's the right word. And because they said that I went to the school multiple times, they've been doing this every year for years and years and years and years. And they told me to come here to address it. So basically, I'm asking for accommodation for citizens. It's just like a group of them, maybe like 10 or 15 of them that go up there, and it's a janitor that sees them. They used to let them in, but he said that he can't because of he doesn't want to, doesn't want to lose his job or put his job at jeopardy. But I'm asking today is how we got to accommodate the people that did the work before us. We agree on that? So is it a way that we can have this conversation and find access to it?
Yes, Mr. Frank, if you could actually leave your name and number with our business administrator, Ms. Atwood, and Dr. Rocco will actually get in touch with you in regards to that.
Do
So
you
that
want me
he
to
can
leave
further
my
discuss.
name or the
Yes.
or the
So
or the
whomever
people,
you would
'cause
like
I'm
us to
not-
contact, if it's your son's grandmother that
Yeah.
you'd like us to contact,
Okay,
please just leave their name
all
with
right.
Ms. Atwood and we will absolutely contact you regarding this.
Because I wanted to address it because they was really, really, really heartbroken about just.
Oh, and I thank you for coming and letting us know. Thank you
Alright.
very much,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
That actually concludes the first hearing of the public.
Yes.
So
My name or the name.
at this time, we are going to move to curriculum and instruction. Dr.
Upon
Farrar, can you take us
the-
through?
absolutely, I can. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I move curriculum
some
and instruction
questions.
items 1 through 13.
Second.
And I just want you all to know, motion 13 was added today. And it is asking for board approval for the emergency virtual or remote instruction plan. It's a plan that the state requires us to have in place in case there's an emergency. We can't open schools, sort of like hurricane damage or a snowstorm. And that is motion 13.
So Dr. Farrar, thank you for mentioning that. Can we just get further clarification in regards to the remote learning? Because I know that this was originally put in place due to COVID restrictions, but when we talk about snowstorms and things like that, I know that technically New Jersey hasn't moved forward with allowing us to use a remote day for certain things, but in what constitutes an emergency situation?
Right.
I
no-
guess clarification.
Correct. Right now, we cannot use a remote day for a snow day. However, since the pandemic, they've required us to approve this plan if we have to go into some form of remote learning, whether that be an individual school, multiple schools, or the entire district. So it is technically a holdover from the pandemic. My understanding is under this format, this is the last year. And as the state begins to transition to other ways that we can do remote, for example, if they allow a snow day or something like that, this will change a little bit, but this is still the holdover from the pandemic in case we have to go into remote for whatever reason, one building or multiple buildings.
So Mrs. Thornton, you'll have to forgive me, having grown up in upstate New York. If we close schools for a snowstorm, it's an emergency.
Just a quick question. This is the same plan that we had in effect last year that we
Same
approved.
Absolutely. We didn't use it at all last year, right? I'm going through my brain and not thinking of it, of one.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, none.
Does anyone else?
So it hasn't been used
This year.
this year.
Last year, this past land.
I'm just, in my brain, I'm trying to
Didn't even have a rainfall.
come up with what would constitute, I mean. God
Health
forbid,
emergency.
like
For the
a
most part, it's a health emergency issue.
Health emergency, because I know that there's so many parents that do not want to go remote.
No, but I think it's if there were a health emergency and there, we can name lots of different scenarios of what that could be, COVID being the most recent reason why we went into remote. However, I do know, and you know, and if you've read the newspaper, there has been legislation back and forth about eventually doing some type of remote snow day. So my understanding would be is these would begin to morph into any reason beyond a health reason. But we are required still at this point by the DOE and the state to put this together, and they need it by the 31st of July at this point.
My recollection when we passed it last time is that the health emergency is declared by the township, correct? So they tell us if
Yes,
to use. the
yeah,
plan.
and Dr. Altabelli just wanted to give one other clarifying point.
Just Harvey just said that the reason for the plan and the reason why we're required to have it is we don't have the autonomy to use this plan on any day that we choose ourselves. This would be in the event that the state, county, or town, for an emergency reason, requires the school to close. We're prepared to do that. So it's not that we have an independent autonomy to call a virtual day or call a remote day ourselves. We don't. But in the event the state required us to go virtual for a particular reason, we are prepared to do so. Or if there was another health emergency that the town required us to close or the county, we would be prepared to do that. That's the reason for the plan.
And just to clarify, there is a line in the report that I'll just read now, just really quickly. It's basically saying this plan would be implemented during a closure lasting more than 3 consecutive school days due to a declared state of emergency, declared public health emergency, or directive by the appropriate health agency or officer to institute a public health related closure.
And we just checked because we were all going through our heads. We did use it at Sunnybray once.
Remember. Any other questions on curriculum instruction?
I'll, if I may,
Yes.
just go through the donations and gifts real quickly. And we have a few. Notably, we received, thanks to the work of Laura Gelch and her team, for the summer camp that is running right now, summer camp supplies and scholarships from the Princeton Area Community Foundation to the value of $5,000. So thanks for the work on that and really appreciate that. We also have a donation from the NJ DOE Office of Special Education and the Bog Center, Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Middle School. And it's funding for providing a PBSIS coach to train and coach staff both in person and virtually. And PBSIS is positive behavior supports in schools. And that's to Kickstart. Also to Kickstart through Donors Choose, they're awarded basically a set of schoolroom supplies, including seat sacks, mailbox and folder sets to the value of $307. To Wilson from the Robbinsville Hamilton Rotary Club, books and games to the value of $2,250, $2,250. And finally, from a Kurt Carney to the Reynolds Middle School, a table tennis set to the value of $150. So thank you for those, and I know people appreciate it, and it's going to reach students. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McShane. Any other questions?
Miss-
Mr. Salantano?
On number 6, that service agreement, is there a dollar amount attached to that item? Because I don't, unless I missed it here.
There is, it's grant money that's paying for that, though.
Grants paying for that?
Grant money, yeah.
In full?
It's Ms. Ferlato's.
Sorry.
Attachment, the cost
I don't see the number.
on the second one.
I was gonna say, it's in,
I have 2 here.
So Mr. Salantano, Ms. Ferlato is actually
Okay.
going to.
Okay.
That one?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Lotto.
it's in administrative content. It's the Princeton Area Community Fund grant. The total
Is it?
Back. Yeah. The total is $14,700.
14,000?
Yes.
Okay. Is this the first time? Is this first time shot at this?
Yes.
So now what happens next year? Do we?
We're, Ms. Audino and I are getting trained in the program so we can facilitate, additional professional development moving forward.
And because what I'm aiming for, well, actually, the point I'm trying to get across eventually is that this happens all the time. We put in these programs, we've seeded, and then 5 years down the road, we have to do something drastic to catch up and pay for the program. So is it that important that we have that? But if you're telling me that you and Mrs. Ordina will eventually be handling this, then that I will have to assume there will be very little cost at all compared to the 14,000, which
Moving
may
forward.
grow exponentially over the next few years. So with that, I'm probably be okay with it.
The only cost we would continue to incur would be for the materials to provide to the new participants
And your lunches,
and yours too.
and your lunches. Okay, no problem.
But and this is only for administrators, this training, so.
Okay, I get it. I get it. Thank you.
Any other questions from board members?
And just a note on that, I happened to read the book, Do What Matters Most, recently and actually through the Hamilton Public Library through audiobook. So I highly recommend it in case anyone's looking for it's kind of, professional, personal development type book. But if you're really in the market for that, I highly suggest it. It's one of the most straightforward and useful ones I've read in a long time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Of course.
Is that what roll call?
Dr. McSheen,
Sorry. Yes.
Ms. Byrne,
No on number 9 and abstain number 13.
and yes on the rest?
Yes.
Mr. Salantano,
Yes, but I'm going to abstain on number 9.
Dr. Farrar,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
Yes.
Mr. Kanka,
Yes on everything but 9, no.
Ms. Thornton,
Yes.
motion's passed.
Okay. Mr. Kanka, can you take us through finance and operation?
Yes, I can.
Hello, Joe.
As per recommendations of the superintendent, I move finance and operation motions 1 through 16.
Second.
Do we have any questions regarding the finance and operation?
Yeah, I got,
Well,
Kanka, did you have a question?
yes, I do. I just gotta
Okay.
find the motion now.
It's J14.
H14.
Oh, it's mistyped as J, but it's number 14, correct? It's finance 14.
It's just a typo. It's on the, it's on page
2.
2. If you read that page, second paragraph is referring to the 22-23 school year. Am I correct?
You are correct.
It's page 2 on 14. So can we have a friendly amendment to correct that?
Yes. Friendly amendment is if anyone objects, then it's not amended. So what we have then is a motion to amend to correct the date. The question then is there any objection?
23-24, it should say.
Being none, the amendment passes. The motion is now amended.
Thank you, Mr. Kanka. Are there any other questions on finance and operation? I actually have a question Dr. McSheen?
Item 9 was removed. Do we have to do anything special with that or just vote over it?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I didn't either.
I'm
So-
sorry.
He's
You're
mentioning
right.
item 9, since the motion was removed.
1 through 8, 10 through 16. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Mr. Kanko, come on.
So I actually have a question on item number 11, on page 8. If we look at the bill list, page 8 on, I believe, the second paragraph, the second items, one of the schools is considerably higher than the other two, and I was just curious as to why that would be that. It would be for the firefighter sales and services. We just had one that was considerably higher. If you see the third one in that column on page 8.
I'm on page 8, but
Those lists.
Ian
Oh, are you
Crockett,
talking
annual
about-
inspection, 1,062.
it's a prior year payment of an invoice. I can't tell you why, but they come out throughout the year and do inspections or do, I can't tell you without looking into it deeper, but it is, they do inspections or they do repairs or et cetera. So my guess is that
Correct.
either could represent more repairs or more time. I don't know any more details. But it's a prior year cost. I'll tell you that we're paying it from it's something that occurred last year.
If we could just get a follow-up for that. Thank you. Any other questions on finance and operation? Okay, can we have roll call?
Dr. McSheen,
Yes.
Ms. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Salantano,
Yes.
Dr. Farrar,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
Yes.
Dr. Kanka,
Yes.
Ms. Thornton,
Yes.
motion's passed.
So for the personnel items, Mr. Gonzalez, can you take us through personnel items?
I move personal items 1 through 17.
Second.
Do we have any questions in regards to personnel items?
I have an abstention if I can find it.
While you are looking for that, Mr. Salantano, I would just like to go to motion 11, which is our retirements.
Okay.
We have a few retirements this evening, so I just wanted to recognize, we have an Alps Elementary teacher from Clockner, Langtree, Greenwood, Mercerville Elementary, 33 years, Susan Rubel. Teacher of Special Education at Hamilton High School West, 15 years, Mark Laurenti. And Teacher of Special Education, Robinson Elementary School, Deborah Gordon, 32 years. We wish you all the best in your retirement. Salantano, are you
Yeah, I found it.
okay?
I guess it's A. 2. I have to abstain. I believe I got the right one. Can you check that? Did I get the right one?
Motion 2 or motion 1?
Motion, I'm sorry, motion 8, A. 2. I forgot the motion.
Yes, A2.
A2.
I get that correct?
Motion 1, A2.
I have one other question.
Right ahead.
On the motion 1, under appointments, I will not mention any names, but there are 3 familiar names here. My question is there any relationship between the names and anybody on this Board of Education, in this administration, or in the other case?
I can speak to one of them, being the same last name as me. And I confirmed with the director of HR and placed in writing that I was not related.
I didn't see you. That'd be 4. I didn't see that.
I think it's because I've said that statement so many times in the last week. So I do apologize, Mr. Celentano.
Guess it would be motion 1, 7 and 8. Is that,
No. No, we actually.
what is that, 27? 27, and the only reason I ask you,
He said no. No.
okay. I believe that's it. And I'm glad to hear that because I get tired of being asked about my last name.
Right. So I disclosed how that name is related to me already. So,
I say that.
okay.
But
And
it's
it's not a violation of the nepotism policy.
No, it's okay.
Ms. Atwood, can you take?
Wait, I have a question.
Does any, oh, I apologize, Mr. Gonzalez.
No problem. So looking at number 3 and then A, paraprofessionals, unpaid volunteers for student extracurricular activities. Are those all paraprofessionals? Because I know at least one of them is a teacher.
Sorry, you're in motion.
Motion 3.
3A. This is coaching, so you've got coaching stipends here. So that's why they're listed that way.
Okay.
So that's what.
So the word paraprofessionals is just because they're
They're doing-
unpaid volunteer.
They're unpaid coaching volunteer.
I understand. Okay, cool.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Ms. Atwood, can you take us through roll call?
Dr. McShane,
Yes.
Ms. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Salantano,
Yes, abstain on motion 8A 2.
Dr. Farrar,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
I abstain on motion 1A13 and yes to the rest.
Mr. Kanka,
Yes.
Ms. Thornton,
Yes.
motion's passed.
Now we move to other business. Is there any other business of the board?
I would like to have some other business, but I can't think of it right now. Shut this down.
Okay, so if there's no other business, actually, I do apologize. I do have something under other business. So being that we are in our July meeting, I just ask all board members, we do our school liaisons and our liaisons to other organizations. Please send me your requests for starting in September. We like to start with the school year. So if you could send them to me, I would say by our next August meeting so that we can do the school assignments and, get everybody ready where they are, okay? So now we're going to move to hearing of the public on school-related matters. So this is our second hearing of the public, and I do have 12 individuals plus the 2 or 3 that decided to come into the second hearing of the public. So I am going to ask again so that we do not have to stop mid hearing of the public to extend the time. I'm asking, since we do have more individuals, if we can extend the time for the hearing of the public so that we are able to hear all individuals that have signed up.
How many do you have?
How many do you have?
12, I'm going to say
48 minutes, right?
you have about 15. If
Oh,
the 3
15.
individuals decide that they would like
So
to.
you got
come back
60
up and
minutes. So you
speak.
need 60 minutes.
Are they all from Hamilton?
Unless we go to 3 minutes for each individual so that we,
That would even be,
If-
that would
it'd
still be 45
minutes.
minutes.
But, I'm fine with that. I think we
I
should
would just
try.
need a motion to do that because
I'll make a
sure-
motion that we extend the time for public comment to 45 minutes at 3 minutes each for 15 participants.
I second
Second.
that.
Got that all out too in one shot.
That would,
We have a second?
yes,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Okay,
second.
so the motion is to extend time of public comment to 45 minutes, 3 minutes each.
It's to
Yeah.
set the time.
Okay.
at 45 minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
So we will begin. I will call the first individual, Miss Janice Glonick, and I want to wish her a very, very happy birthday.
Like Jack Benny, 31 and holding?
Pardon?
Like Jack Benny, 31 and holding?
You got it. How does this come down?
That's the.
This is called dedication to the cause to come on my birthday. And I got 4 minutes? Oh my God, be still my heart.
Three.
Oh, 3 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is after last month's meeting, I knew I had to bring it up again, and this is
our public speaking time, which is only 20 minutes. We wait nicely for your executive sessions, your reports, all your discussions, which take about 2 hours or sometimes more. And then our speaking time comes up and we've got 20 minutes. Do you know how that makes us feel? It's like you don't want to spend the time to hear what we have to say, or it's an inconvenience, or you just don't want to hear what we have to say. We follow the rules you make, and sometimes there's a problem that comes up that you don't know about, or a totally new problem that needs addressing or your attention. Our public speaking time needs to change. You keep talking about it to an hour or a 45-minute minimum. I'm glad Mr. Celentano did the 3 minutes. Thank you. Very nice. Okay. We give you, give you your due. Back 14 months ago or whatever, when you had 40 people speaking, you did let everybody have their 2 minutes, which was really nice. But when we were asked for a vote to extend the time, by your looks on your faces, it's like begrudgingly that you do it. You look like you were just handed down a life sentence to extend the time. Dr. Ferrara usually always jumps in and says, let him go, which is really great. Last month, there was only 11 people. And I thought, whoa, this is really great. Should be no problem. If everybody got their 4 minutes, it would have been an hour by the time people get up and down. And not everybody uses their 4 minutes. And there are those of us who practice to make sure we stay under the 4 minutes. And we went down to 2 minutes only. So, but 3 minutes would have been the 45-minute minimum that I said should be absolute minimum. And if you call 2 people at a time, that would save time because you waste a lot of time of people coming up to talk. And so you could have somebody wait in the first row. So you always have somebody waiting. That would save 5 to 15 minutes right there. Last Tuesday at council and other occasions, they have said to us, they thanked us for coming and bringing them the problems. They said, we're their eyes and ears, and that's the only way they know what's going on and what kind of problems so that they can fix them. And that's what we need to know here. You need to respect our opinions just as much as we respect yours, that we have a problem or there is a problem that you need to solve. We are your eyes and ears for the education. We're all working for the same thing, to make us have the best education system in the country. And we need that by listening to what we have to say. So if there is a problem, like the council says, you can work on it and fix it. And that's it. So please extend the time to a minimum of an hour. Thank you for the people who do and give us the 3 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Celentano, stupendous. And Ms. Thornton, congratulations on a good job as president on your first official meeting.
Thank you very much. And have a very happy birthday. Guy Philibrower, I'm sorry if I messed. Okay, thank you, sir. Rika Rubin,
I don't think her name is Rika. Okay.
Hi, my name is Rika Rubin. I live here in Hamilton with my family, with my husband and my 2 kids, my youngest of which is going to be a senior. It's going to be a senior. She's trying to pretend that's not happening. Who's going to be a senior at West. I have been here doing this for about a year. When I heard what was happening here in terms of particularly representation for the LGBTQ student community, and also what was happening with all of you. The fact that people were throwing accusations at school board members of being pedophiles and groomers, and also teachers and administrators. So I am here to continue to speak up for you and to speak up for the LGBTQ community, to speak out against book banning and to speak out for representation in our health curriculum. So my youngest, my kids come to, this is something that they want to do. I don't make them, I ask them about 4 or 5 times before we leave. It's like, are you sure you want to do this? My youngest, I think, really got me going today because I don't know about all of you, but I'm a little tired. But this is important. And I want you all to hear from all voices in the community. So thank you.
do I have the next person, Vanessa Rubin?
Good evening, school board members. My name is Vanessa or Babe Rubin. Pardon me. I'm the resident of Hamilton Township, and this upcoming school year is my mom so kindly pointed out that I will be a senior in Hamilton High West, which I personally find criminal, but I digress. As you know, I haven't been able to attend these meetings in a while due to prior conflicts. But I'm so dedicated to this community and providing specifically like students' perspective to the various issues that come up, and that I appreciate you guys passing the motion for the updated health curriculum, because as a queer person myself, I very much appreciate more representation, specifically in schools and stuff like that in a maintained area. And that I just ask that you still try to keep in mind other people's perspectives, specifically students, and that you try to keep moving forward as you do. Thank you.
Danielle Deary.
Hi, good evening. I am an upcoming senior at Hamilton High West, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about one of your employee transfers, specifically Danielle Grady. She was a coach at Hamilton West and is now being transferred to an elementary school. And I just wanted to make you guys aware of the huge mistake that you're making, because she's not just a coach for us. She is the track team. The minute that she stopped coaching the track team, half the track team was gone, because she was just such an important member for us. She brought so many people out the track. When I first started at West, I had just lost my dad, and she saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. She coached me and she helped me and she educated me, but most importantly, she understood me. I've never had an administration change my life the way that she did. And we're taking her away from West, and you won't even give the students an explanation. She doesn't want to leave. I know she doesn't want to leave, and it's unfortunate that she can't be here. But I came and I took the time of my day to just explain to you the huge impact that you're having on all of these students. Grady not only teaches us and coaches us, she molds us into better athletes and better kids. I never ran track before Hamilton West, and with her training in just a couple of months, I was 2 places away from making it to states. And also the minute that she left, people that were ranked 7th in the state became 40th because her coaching was gone. It's an awful thing. You won't give us an explanation. You won't give us answers. You're just ripping away a huge part of West. And I wish that the other seniors could be here, but unfortunately they're getting ready for college. So I'm all that she has here representing us. But if you spoke to anyone at Hamilton West, you would understand how important she is to that school. She is possibly one of my favorite things at West. And she's just a big personality there, and getting rid of her without giving us any answers is just a horrible thing to do. Thank you.
And Bruno.
Hi, Joanne Bruno. I'm from Hamilton Township. And I know that as a resident, we don't get a vote on who will be selected to fill the vacated seat on the board. However, I would like to give my unofficial vote to Melissa DeFelice. She's been preparing to run for school board this year in November. Her preparation started in 2022 and has continued. And I feel confident that Melissa is best suited to complete Ms. Lombardo's term of office. And it is my hope she is elected for a fall term as well in November this year. I'd also like to say to all of you that it's my hope that we won't have any book banning in this township. Thank you.
Melissa D. Felice.
Hello again. It's been 48 hours, right, since I've seen you. I'm here also to endorse myself for the seat on the board. Like when you leave an interview and you're not nervous anymore and you calm down and you're like, oh, I should have said that. So I'm actually really grateful that I can use this time to just summarize some of the things I wish I said and then just remind you of why I feel like I'm qualified to sit on this board. So who am I? I can say that I'm not very well known in all of Hamilton Township. I've got my friends from high school, the parents that are on the PTA and such, but not very widely known in the community. And that's probably because I'm not a politician. So outside of school board matters, I'm really just a working mother and a science teacher. And that's good in my mind because the last thing we need on our school board would be politicians. Although I'm sure you all recognize me because I come here all the time. And I come to these meetings to support your current policies that you have in place that give fair and equitable education when there has been opposition to them. So my presence at these meetings has always been to support the work that you do. And don't get me wrong, there's many issues that still need working on, and I want to make sure that they also get their due attention because these days those topics seem to be drowned out. So I'm applying for this position because it's my mission to improve education beyond what I do in my own classrooms. And I do feel like I have a set of skills and qualifications that are beneficial to this board. And to summarize them, I would simply say that I'm relevant and current. I'm relevant because I'm a trained educator with firsthand knowledge and experience of what education needs to be today. I'm current on today's educational needs and practices. I'm respected in my own school community as a leader in equitable teaching practices and grading policies. And I have insight into what students need for today's world rather than an idea of what I remember from when I was in school decades ago. I was last in a classroom working with students only a month ago. It's summer, so it's been a while. But how recently can my fellow candidates claim to have been in a 21st century classroom? So this means that I have insight. And insight rather than assumptions is essential when it comes to working through problems and agreeing on solutions as it applies to real students in real classrooms with real issues. I'm also relevant because my family is young in the school district. I've got real skin in the game with 2 elementary age school children. I'm part of the parent community as well, which are your major stakeholders. And again, I have insight. I have insight on the issues that are affecting those school age students right now. And I kind of mentioned in my interview that I am saddened to hear that amongst the current parents that they don't really feel that Hamilton truly cares for the education of their child. And I want to work on solutions to these issues and be the liaison between the district and my fellow parent community.
Ms. D. Felice,
And
I
I'm
apologize
done.
for cutting you off with
That's
your
great.
time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Megan Stanton.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan Stanton, a lifelong Hamilton resident and parent of a soon-to-be second grader. I wanted to first thank you all for your time and efforts that you put in every year for the board. I also wanted to speak on behalf of Melissa D. Felice. She is a seasoned educator, a caring parent, and someone who does have priorities that are for every student in the district. She has no political background or any history of running for any type of office with any political leanings. She is someone who is educated in what we need for curriculum and for the well-being of all of our students. And I thank you.
Jessica Trombino.
Good evening, and thank you all for your public service. I am here because I have a unique story. I am I have 6 children in the Hamilton Township School District, and 2 are still high schoolers. One is actually, I have custody of my niece, who she is starting her 10th grade year. My other one is in 12th grade this coming year. So they attend Steiner. And I have a story. I was a child and a somebody that was grown, was an adult. He took a book to me and he opened it, and it was not for children. And it was animations of sexual acts. And he, ordered and demanded that that's what we would do. I'm not going to go into details, and I only have a few minutes, but if anybody is interested in my story, it's pretty crazy. But that's not the only time. And the reason that I'm coming is not to ban any books. I am not here to say I don't like anybody or that I don't like any community. I love everybody. I even have a queer daughter. I also wanted to be a boy, and I joined the military. If I had the option to transition when I was a child, a hell of a yeah, well, I would have. If I could have gone in the military as a boy, I would have. I'm really glad I wasn't. I'm really glad I didn't, because I outgrew that. But anyway, I am here to say that the book Genderqueer triggers me. I have had to go through extensive therapy, and I know that a pervert could take a book that's allowed publicly in schools with children and say, this is what I'd like to do with you. I know for a fact that teachers, that there could be perverts anywhere. And I know that for a fact. I could give names, and I might do that one day. But I'm just saying, I think we should decommission that book. I'm not asking to decommission anything else, just things that have very detailed imagery and descriptions of sexual acts with minors. And I think that that would benefit our children. And I am deeply concerned for our children and my children, but all our children in the school system that could have a book that any adult could get a hold of. And then somewhere say, this is completely normal, and I'd like to do this with you. So that's why I'm here tonight, is to please decommission that book from our school systems. Thank you.
Mr. John Fisher.
Hello, I'm back to my first paragraph here. I'd like to speak tonight in support of Melissa DeFelice, who is currently under consideration for appointment to the school board. Ms. DeFelice's supporters in the room today are parents of students in this district. The evidence of our dedication to this district is obvious. I've been coming to these board meetings for the past year, both before and after the last election. And Melissa has been here as well every time, often speaking on behalf of students and teachers. She has on her own time been a leader amongst the parents in this district to make them aware of the issues facing our teachers and children, trying to provide an alternative to some of the extreme politics that have been on display in these meetings over the last year. Her desire to keep our children safe, her dedication to this community, leadership qualities, and overall temperament all make her an ideal candidate. And I hope that you all consider her a strong addition to this board. And then just in response to the last comment about decommissioning a book, I mean, we kind of all, well, not all of us, but a few months ago, there was a presentation given on the Miller test and what it takes to remove a book from a school. There was a vote on that by this board. Voting now to decommission a book like that, you probably have had these discussions amongst yourselves and with the district's attorney. It's a clear attempt to circumvent the Miller test and all of the rules that you have to abide by. So hopefully the school board doesn't make some vote to decommission any books that have already been considered for removal from our libraries. All right, thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Fran Carroll.
Okay.
Hi, Fran Carroll of Hamilton. I am
was here just a couple nights ago where we had the interviews. I guess that you guys are going into, I didn't hear an announcement about it, but going into another executive session after this to discuss the appointment. Regarding that, I think it had previously stated that if the board doesn't come to a decision, which obviously didn't happen Monday night, that it would go to the county. And just a couple things about that. I would hope that you guys don't allow that to happen. I would rather have that be made here in-house in Hamilton by you folks who, obviously know the district the best, and also know, who has been attending meetings, and you heard their interviews. I would like some clarification. I don't know if it would be appropriate, or you could answer in terms of how does the county make that decision? Are they going to look at the interviews that were already taped, or do just look at the resume, or do they maybe call the candidates in themselves? So I'm just wondering about that. But again, I just plead with all of you, if you're tonight, I know it might take a while, but I hope that you can come to a decision on a candidate, because I think that should be made by you guys. And just in terms of the candidates, I'm not going to endorse anyone in particular by name, but there are two candidates who I, having heard the interviews, give a little more weight to, in terms of that they have skin in the game. They are parents in the district currently who have kids in the school district. I think both of them have been very involved previously in terms of coming to meetings, and as well as being involved in the many different committees of the board. And I hope that that would have some extra weight in terms of people who have been actively engaged and involved recently, just in terms of weighing candidates. That's something that I would personally look at if I was making your decision. But I do wonder about how the county would, I don't know if anyone can go over what would happen if you guys are not able to decide with 5 votes. Thank you.
So I do have, Joe Stillwell, you did yield your time. Would you like to speak now, or you would? Okay, please come up.
Well, good evening. A couple of days ago, I did ask the board to create in one night a consensus candidate for school board. We pretty much had enough time where I could have gone to Killarney's, had a couple Guinnesses, and came back and said, hey, we're still having a hanging chad situation like what happened in Florida years ago. Hopefully you pick somebody tonight that's out of the 3. I'm endorsing Dave. I'm just honest about it, especially when he had that story about the families in Mississippi that were hurting, that lost everything, and the Christmas present he could give was to build a house. That's kind of gold you don't hear from people. That kind of level of public service, that kind of help. That's the kind of content of character that ought to be on that board. And the seat expires in a couple months. The rest of you guys have for this year, as far as I could tell, it's not really budget stuff. Maybe it's some resolutions and stuff like that. But I think he's just the most well qualified guy out of this community to represent you for the remainder of the year. He's got a heart of gold that you just simply can't come by nowadays, folks. You just don't come by that anymore. So with that, I yield my time, and good luck voting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stillwell. So that does conclude our hearing of the public. I am going to ask for a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes.
Whereas NJSA 10:4-13 requires adoption of the board to go into executive session, be it resolved that the board pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, New Jersey, Title 18A, and the Hamilton Township Board of Education Bylaw number 0166 hereby enter executive session to discuss a matter involving other matters. Be it further resolved that the minutes of this executive session shall be made public following formal action by the board and/or at the conclusion of any investigation, due process proceeding, or litigation, so long as not prohibited by law and so long as the need for maintaining confidentiality no longer exists. We may be coming out for board action at the end of executive session. I'm going to resume. Like to call for a motion.
I move that we appoint Denise Soto to the vacancy on the Board of Education.
Second,
Roll call.
Dr. McShane,
Yes.
Ms. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Salantano,
Yes.
Dr. Farrar,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
yes.
Mr. Kanka,
Yes.
Ms. Thornton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Wait, we gotta close the meeting, sir.
Now, what is it, what's the process now? When do you swear in? When do you get sworn in?
She's gotta get her finger.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
First, right?
No,